Just got finished with that show, Vikings, on the History Channel. It's very good. I put it off for a good while, but finally got around to it. It's a very good show. It's very entertaining. It's not very accurate. They have a lot of historical figures like Ragnar, Floki, Ivar the Boneless. They all existed. Rollo. Um, but one major drawback to the show was um, there was no female fighters, Viking fighters, that existed ever. They didn't exist, and in the show, they have female fighters everywhere. It's not like there was one or two. I mean, it looked like most females in the show would pick up an axe and a sword and just go about hacking 250-pound men to pieces. Um, and they did this on the strength of a few things actually, but the sagas, the Norse sagas, which is essentially mythology. It's not reality. It's certainly not history. Um, they have shield maidens in them, but again, they weren't real. Um, and there was female bones found in a grave, in a Viking grave, recently enough. No, sorry, they were found quite a while ago actually, but they were tested for DNA recently enough, and it turned out that they were female, not male. And on the strength of this, the people with this agenda, you might call it, ran with it and said that, oh, well, there had been female fighters all along and the show is completely accurate. Um, so this was apparently a Viking warrior grave, and if there was female bones found in it, um, it followed that the females would have been fighters just like the men. Well, if that's not the non sequitur of non sequiturs, I don't know what is. That is not scholarship. You find one example of something and you take it and you run. And I feel these people are like gender studies students with a serious agenda. They want to try and annihilate the traditional gender roles and to kind of, women, we're tough too kind of nonsense. Women are certainly tough, but in a different way. They weren't hacking 200-pound men to pieces on the battlefield in medieval times or pre-medieval times. That's absolutely absurd. There's many historians all across Europe, from Byzantium to France to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle in England to um, writings in Scandinavia itself, that document the Vikings, Viking raids, but none of them have ever commented on female warriors. It's never once been documented. And because you might say, oh, well, it's all the male historians, there was female historians in Byzantium as well. And none of them mentioned female Viking warriors. And, it would have been so strange, so uncommon to see a woman warrior at that time, or any other time really in history, that it would have been written down. It would have been taken note of. Um, but it wasn't. It wasn't commented on at all, largely because it didn't happen. And yeah, I mean, with the greatest of respect to women, women are absolutely awesome and they're really tough in certain ways. Um, but the Vikings were very feared throughout Northern Europe, the Mediterranean. They were seriously feared warriors. How much fear are you going to strike into the local population, into the heart of men of the 8th or 9th century, which were brutal men, if it's a bunch of women storming the beach? They're not gonna strike fear into anybody. Vikings wouldn't have been allowed acquire this fearsome reputation if half their, or even if a third or a quarter of their ranks were made up of women. I think they would have been mocked for it, rightly or wrongly. So it didn't happen, and I'm just very suspicious of the people who try and push this. So I've seen a few ridiculously stupid videos on this from the kind of people you'd expect to make it. So Viking warrior, female Viking warriors, no, didn't exist.